What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Empowered Dynasty. And I'm your boss, Q the Boss. Listen, today's topic is how to make money work for you. I'm excited about this topic. Anytime my hands start itching when we talk about money. And the reason why my hands itch when I talk about money is because I understand how to make money work. See, most people believe that by leaving their money sitting is not collecting any interest. And the problem with that is the fact of the matter is your money is not growing. It's losing value every year to something called inflation. See, inflation is killing the mighty dollar. The dollar has, like for instance, let me give you some scenarios. So I like to do the breakdowns because it goes into more depth of understanding it. For instance, every year if your money is not gaining a value of 4 to 6%, because inflation could be anywhere from 3 to 4% average. So if you have $100,000, next year $100,000 is not worth $100,000 anymore. Now it's worth about $96,000, $97,000. So you see it lost $3,000 in value. To the average eye who's not paying attention to it, will see that they're losing money. Every year you're losing money. So the concept of money is making the money work for you, putting the money to work. That's how you win. You know, you want the returns that's beating inflation. And if your money's beating inflation, you're doing better because you're actually gaining value on your money every year. See, at one point our grandmothers used to say, put your money in the bank. Grandma used to tell us, put your money in the bank, put your money in the bank. The reason why grandma told us to put our money in the bank, because at that time, banks gave great returns on money. So therefore, grandma's system is outdated now. By grandma telling you to put your money in the bank, it actually loses value. So it's actually hurting you in a sense. Because now the bank is lending your money at a very high rate, anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30%, they're lending your money. So by them lending your money, they're not even giving you a 1% return on your money. Some banks is giving an average return of 0.23% interest. That's not even 1%. So how unfair is that you worked your behind off to give them $100,000 into their account and they won't even give you a 1% return a year? 1% of $100,000 is $1,000 a year. So you're telling me with my $100,000 I barely make what, $20 for the whole year on $100,000? That's a bad return. That's a very bad return. But the problem is they don't teach in this country how to make the money work for you. Let me break down some scenarios of money working for you. If I'm an investor, right? I take my money, I build something called, I take my capital rather than I build something called principal. I take my principal, I invest my principal to collect interest. I live off the interest of my principal. So therefore I'm able to actually receive returns. As an investor, we usually want anywhere from 8 to 15%. 10% is a great number for an investor. The reason being is because if I have $1 million, I'm actually making $100,000 a year. So my money is working for me to the point where I'm actually collecting a great interest or a great return on my money. And that's how you actually supposed to invest. See, the people that think long-term are the ones who actually win when it comes to the investing game. But the problem is everyone has this microwave mentality where they're taught that you're supposed to instantly win by putting your money and it's supposed to grow overnight. There's no such thing. I don't know whoever created this analogy or this story. It's hindered a lot of people from understanding investing because real investors think long-term. See, if you're showing me a 10% gain in earnings every year, 10%, over 10 years, you show me 100% return on my money. See, an average investor will say, oh, that's a long time. But 10 years isn't a long time when you equate inflation and you equate the loss of the pricing of the dollars and how much things are getting more costly. When you look at it like that. So over 10 years, let's say if I invested $100,000, over 10 years, I just made another $100,000. I'm talking about, so now I'm at $200,000. Money working for you. Most people have a mentality where they're employee. They think like an employee. And an employee's mindset is the only time I'm supposed to receive money is when I'm working. And this is the issue. The issue is you're supposed to build your capital, invest the capital. So therefore you can get a return. And by getting this return or the interest, you're buying back your freedom. You're able to navigate the freedom train a lot easier. See, here's the thing. Why I say the freedom train. If I can take my lifetime, build $1 million in capital, right? Invest my $1 million over a year receiving a 10% or 8% return. That is $80,000 to $100,000 a year that I'm making in profit sitting on my behind. I looked at Microsoft. Microsoft has given me over a 50-something% return this year. So let's just say you invested $100,000 in Microsoft. You technically will be up $50,000. Excuse me. Thank you. That's a great return. If you look at the logic, if I'm able to give Microsoft over a 12-month calendar year, $100K, and they can give me a 50% return, it's a great investment. I mean, I made $150,000 on my money. See, the thing is, everyone is looking for this way on how to make money without money when there's no such thing. Money has to make money. The only way you can make money without money is with a skill. See, the thing is, Steph Curry has a skill. Barry Bonds had a skill. Serena Williams has a skill. Beyonce has a skill. Jay-Z has a skill. You know, we can keep going. These are people that made money outside of without money. In order to make money without money, you have to have an extreme skill. You got to be one of the best engine creators in the world. You can make a lot of money without having any money because of your skill. But if you are an average Joe who don't have this significant skill, you have to understand the only way you can do that is by investing your money to make money for you, so therefore you living off the interest. You know, for instance, I invest in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has shown great returns. You know, for me, I'm looking at the long game. What made me so confident to put my money into cryptocurrency is because I see how the world is transitioning. The world is changing. I live in New York State. And in living in New York State, I've seen the tolls. There used to be someone out there collecting the money. Now we have something called Easy Pass. I'm noticing this country is trying to monitor all transactions. How do you monitor all transactions? You have to alleviate or get rid of the liquid currency. You're trying to get rid of it. Everything is starting to become a wire-to-wire transfer. And by the world becoming a wire-to-wire transfer, these companies, which is the cryptocurrencies, these companies are going to become the new modern day way of financial transactions. You know, as a barber, I remember at one point everyone came in with cash. Now I notice that there's Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, the world is changing even more. You know, in the world, like the other day, I ate at a restaurant and I felt I didn't have enough cash on me and only had enough to pay for the food. So I asked my waiter, do you have Cash App? My waiter said yes. I cashed apped with my tip. And I said, you see how the world is changing. So again, if you don't stay transparent or relevant to what's going on right now, you're going to get left with the times. And a lot of people are going to get left with the times because they don't see that their money isn't working for them. The whole goal is building capital to get interest off of your capital. That's the whole goal. That's how you make your money work for you. Again, as an investor, I told you I look from anywhere 8 to 10%. Higher percentages are lucky. If you can get 15, 20, 30%, 40% returns, like I told you, this year I did really well on Microsoft. I thank God for Microsoft CEO. He did a great job this year on the returns. And the people that supported Microsoft keep doing it because I'm going to keep winning. And I thank God for the company. So again, I tell people when you play the stock market, you should invest in a lot of different companies that are doing really well. And the truth of the matter is you should start very early. So for instance, my daughter currently has her own stock portfolio. I invest with my daughter in a company called Disney. And the reason why I invest in Disney is because Disney has been very lucrative for years. And I'm seeing what Disney is doing. My daughter currently is 7 years old. So currently I don't want to tell her business, my daughter has about 25 to 30 shares of Disney. So the other day, it was her birthday. Her birthday is December 26th, the day after Christmas. I bought her another 5 shares on top of me giving her gifts. See, when she's that age at 7, you tell her you bought her a Disney stock, she's gonna look at you like, I don't want a Disney stock. But what I've seen her return since she was 1 of me continuously doing this, compiling, I'm noticing and I'm seeing her account grow a lot faster because I'm thinking as an investor. An investment mentality is the truest mentality to navigate this country. By you thinking like an investor, you will make more money. Most people don't think like an investor. They think like an employee. You cannot be a boss if you're not willing to be a slave first. Let's just get that straight. You have to be a worker, or if it makes you feel a little bit better, a worker. You have to think like you have to be a worker first so you can learn how to be the boss. Everyone starts at the bottom unless they inherited a great situation. For me, I've worked my behind off. I started off sweeping barbershops, to ultimately cutting in barbershops, to ultimately cutting in different barbershops and ultimately became the owner. I started off as a renter. I rented houses. You know, I moved from house to house to house to ultimately moving out of my mother's house, renting on my own, to ultimately buying my first property myself. So everything happens in stages. But again, always thinking the long game is the ultimate goal. If you only play the moment, you're gonna notice that you're not gonna ever win with that mentality. That mentality is not designed for you to win. And to understand, as an investor, thinking long term is your goal. Your goal is to say, you know what? I have 10 grand. I wanna put 10,000 into stocks. Buy into 5 companies or 10 companies that's diversified, but for a reason. Why am I buying into Apple? Apple will be leading the forefront, in my belief, to what's going to happen with the metaverse. With this whole metaverse thing coming, Apple will be on the forefront for that. Microsoft will be on the forefront for that. Roblox will be on the forefront for that. Facebook will be on the forefront for that. You have to monitor and see what's going on and keep up with the times. If you're not keeping up with the times psychologically, you're gonna be left behind in times. I met a lot of people that are left behind in time because their mentality haven't gravitated to newer. They stayed where they were. It's like the kid that's in college and he goes home and put on his middle school clothes. They're very tight. You can't fit them anymore. And the reason why he can't fit those clothes anymore because he's outgrown those clothes. But the problem is people don't want to outgrow certain conversations to the magnitude where they're able to elevate their IQ or their thinking or their way or outlook on life. But if you continue to stay at a level, you're gonna notice that your mind isn't growing with the economy. And when I say with the economy, your mind has to grow with it. You have to stay relevant to what's going on. And this is the truth. Again, as an investor, I always play the long game, and I tell everybody, play the long game. Stop falling for the instant gratification, the instant success, the instant. I don't believe in that because I know that's not reality, and I know that tends to be the reason why most people lose. They play the shorts. It is a proven fact on the stock market, a person that plays the long game makes more money than a person that swings trades and jumping in and out of plays, because those are more risky. But if you think like a long-term investor, you'll make more money. I just invested in a company called, it's an actual ETF, it's called META. I invested in that. Why? Because I believe in it. I'm not giving out financial advice, I'm just telling you what I invest in. So for me, I always think about what's going on and staying relevant to the times. And by staying relevant to the times, I've learned how to make my money work for me. If you want to learn how to make your money work for you, you have to understand how to make capital. After you learn how to make capital, your goal is how to take the capital. You got to preserve capital. The only way to make money work for you is you got to be able to preserve it. If you can't preserve capital, you can't make money work for you. You got to learn how to save. People will never change their economical positioning if they don't learn how to save. Saving is a very focal point of you changing your economical position. Learning how to respect money. I feel like a lot of people don't respect money. And the reason why they don't respect money because I haven't met a pair of shoes in my life that's worth $1,000. I have never met a pair of jeans in my life that's worth $1,000. I think it is ridiculous for someone to buy a pair of jeans for $1,000. I don't care what name is on it. A Mary Jeans would never make me buy it for $1,000. And that's my mentality, because it's still a jean at the end of the day. So what I'm trying to get at is respect money. Learn that you have to take your capital, turn it into a principal, take your principal, invest it into returns interest. That's how your phases have to be, and you'll notice you'll start slowly weaning yourself off the hamster wheel. For instance, I'm gonna give you a nice scenario. Let's say technically you work 80 hours a week, right? So this year you work 80 hours a week, you were able to save, let's say you made 100,000, you was able to save 20%. 20% of 100,000 is 20,000. You invested the 20,000, you got a good return. Now all you're doing is buying back your freedom. You're not doing 80 hours no more. By you investing, you're still making that money accommodate the time that you're not there. So let's say I was able to buy back 10 hours of my life. So now I'm doing 70 hours a week. If you repeat that formula all the way to success, you will ultimately change your economical positioning. Now you do it again. Now you at 60 hours a week. Then you do it again over time. I'm talking about over years. It's having a 5 to 10, 15-year plan. See, everybody wants this 1 year, 2 year plan. Nothing much happens in 12 months. A baby can't even learn how to walk in a matter of, 8 to 10 months. It depends on the child. Some children are lucky. But in reality, in most cases, babies even take time to develop. So you have to look at your finances as it's in the incubation stage. Why is it in the incubation stage? You have to learn that your money has to slowly grow. And by being in the incubation stage, you cannot do anything to hinder the process. You got to trust the process. Stop trying to rush the process. Trust it. Take your steps. While everybody else is wasting their funds and not realizing how to economically position themselves, learn that it's you who determine your outcome on life based on your mentality and based on the actions that you take with having this mentality. Save your money. My phrase of all life, and I tell everybody, I repeat this formula all the way to success. I worked hard, I saved my money, and I invest. And all I did on this hand, I rinsed, I recycled, I repeated. That's all I did. I worked hard, I saved my money, and I invested. And then on this hand, I rinsed, I recycled, I repeated. And I just kept doing the same formula. See, I have a different mentality. I'm the kind of guy that can flip a house. Anyone that's around me knows I'll flip a house, make $100,000 in profit, and literally put back $95,000 into the market. Right back, and $5,000 come into my account. Because of the fact that $95,000 has bought me more freedom now. Because my next return is gonna be even bigger because of the fact that I put more money out. Now that's another deal going on for me. That's how I think as an investor. But most people don't think like that. See, if you change that mind and reprogram that mind, you'll learn how to make your money work for you. And the whole goal of life is not to just work for the money, it's to figure out how to make the money work for you. And once you have this mentality, you'll start seeing your actions change. You'll start seeing your mentality change. And ultimately, you'll see your results change. That's the whole content. You want to see your results change. And your results only change by your actions. If you apply yourself, you'll start seeing things change in your life. Again, my giveaway, every single Sunday, I will be giving away $100. We're trying to literally navigate all my TikTok followers over to my YouTube channel. For those who showing the love and whoever did it today, she won today, Tanya Williams. I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you, and also happy birthday. Like, subscribe, and definitely I love you guys for all the love you've given me. And definitely go follow me on Instagram at QDABOSS516. Until next time, y'all be safe. Empower your mind, empower your life, because it's you who control your destiny. Don't let that go over your head.